40 odd something hours. The sweat on my back's got my shirt soaked and sour. And it's already gone. Second night's coming and I'm spinning back around. We're all caught up, can't hear or feel the sound. And it's already gone. And here comes the feeling when you don't got nothing and all you want to do is get up and start running. You can't hide long cause you know it's gonna start up again. Here's one thing that I know for certain, is life's too short to be worrying about you hurting for long. Oh, it's already gone. Got time but money's not something that's free. Seems the roll of the dice never rolls back to me. And oh, it's already gone. A bird in my hand, two cans in the other, start spinning around. Now here comes another, and oh, it's already gone. And here comes the feeling when you don't got nothing and all you want to do is get up and start running. You can't hide long cause you know it's gonna start up again. Here's one thing that I know for certain, is life's too short to be worried about you hurting for long. Oh, it's already gone. And all you want to do is get up and start running. You can't hide long cause you know it's gonna start up again. Here's one thing that I know for certain, is life's too short to be worried about you hurting for long. Whoa, it's already gone. Already gone. It's already gone. Go.
What is up, Jags fans? We are here on a Friday night. You may have thought that, like, oh man, there's Friday night football on in Brazil, so maybe Jags United won't do a show. Joke's on you. We're doing a show and a film breakdown anyways. And I got to say, little teaser, there may or may not be a special guest joining us in about 15-ish minutes. You guys may be familiar with him, but I would hang in there for a second. I mean, what a boring game anyways. I mean, we got like, what is it? 6-0. And so that game might have been a little deceiving to you, thinking it was a good game, but that's not the first time you've been deceived tonight. That was the second time, because I said that our special guest was joining us in 15 minutes. Joke's on you. We're throwing Travis in right now, mid-sip. Let's go, Travis. Yeah,
okay.
That's how we do it around here. Yeah. You thought I was going to bring you in slow. You thought I was going to like work you in. Nope, not around here. Not around here.
Hey, man, I was on daddy duty. I was over there bathing the kid. I was like, hey, man, this is going to happen, but it's going to happen a little later.
Hey, listen, I'm here for it. I'm just glad you're here, man. So how's everything going with you? Like, what's new with Big Cat Country? How's everything going?
Oh man, everything's going great, bro. It's been a different week for me for sure. Just trying to get out of preseason mode because preseason is my busiest time. It truly is. Like every
Preseason?
day, preseason. Oh, by
You got to
far.
expound on that. You got to expound on that a bit.
Well, because I'm the breaking news guy. So, for the
Oh,
most part, I only get a chance to do my to take my analytical hat and put that on in the off season. Otherwise, I'm just here for whatever the news breaks and giving my few opinion pieces and adding that into it. But so that's my highlight season is I'm at practices, I'm analyzing what's happening, I'm putting together old film and trying to talk about that in the off season. So now we're in season, and the only time I get to do that is with you.
Well, here's what we can do in season is now we have some actual film to break down. And Travis is at the disadvantage where he has not seen any of the film clips that I have clipped. And you know me, I like to put Travis to the test. So in a short time here, we're going to throw up some clips here, and we're going to see what Travis thinks of these clips. We're going to see how he would attack the offense if he was a defense, or vice versa, because I have clips where the Dolphins from last year did well, where the Dolphins did not do well. I have all that stuff. So I'm super excited. But listen, before we even get into everything, we do have a channel sponsor here today. We do.
Okay.
Yes. So we have Racha Sriracha channel sponsor, and I have 2 bottles here sent to me by Nolly Full Cab. So this is the best sriracha you'll ever have in your entire life, right? If some of you have already bought it. Travis, are you a hot sauce fan? Are you a sriracha fan?
Yes, my wife is Jamaican. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I like it. All right. So go get you some Racha Sriracha. The link is in my description. He said a couple weeks ago that if you put Jags United in the description, then he'll give you the teal label, because these teal labels are special edition now. Okay. These teal labels are special edition. So literally, like I said, if you have a business or you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to launch something, I don't need money from you. As long as you're a Jags fan and you have a good product, I will pump your product. Racha Sriracha, one of my favorite hot sauces. I put it on eggs, chicken. You guys know me. I'm an animal-based guy, so I just eat meat, fruit, and nuts. That's all I pretty much eat. And pretty much this goes good on any meat. So get yourself a bottle, support other Jags. And again, if you have a business or you have let me know and I will pump it. Happy to pump any business of a Jags fan. But I also say I vet it. I make sure that it's good. Okay. Because it can't be a dog shit product. I'm not going to pump that. I'm telling you right now. So if it's good, I will try it. So Travis, before we jump into Jags stuff, because who wants to talk about the Jags a few days before the first game? You teased a little bit that your wife's Jamaican. So what's the best Jamaican dish that you've had, and maybe directly or indirectly? What's the pride of Jamaican food?
I mean, I can't speak. Do not have my Americanized self out here embarrassing all of my wife's, lineage, trying to tell other people what the pride of Jamaica is. But I'm calling curry goat all day because I love all the different types of goat that they cook. It's just delicious and it's still healthy meat. I'm here for all that. But yeah, if it's not curry goat, then it's probably what is it called? Something stew. Damn. Hey,
Jamaican stew by chance?
Well, it's not Jamaican stew because let me hear you. It's a sucky thing because she had me try it without telling me what it was.
Okay.
And only told me what it was after I ate it 3 times. And it's basically it's a brain of an animal. And it's a stew. And I'm like, what is it called? Goat head stew. That's what it is. And you don't know it's a brain. Goat head, yeah.
Goat head stew. Okay.
Yeah. And you don't know it's a brain, or what the stuff, the meat, we'll call it, that you're eating in the stew is a brain until later, because they don't call it goat head, but they say it in patois, so it's a little different. That, and I was like, yo, bruh, I can't do it again. It's a mental block now, but it's delicious.
It's probably better that they don't tell you that it's brain. And listen, I'm an organ guy. I'm a huge fan in eating liver. Listen, I'll just put anybody on liver. Liver is actually one of the most nutrient dense foods out there, right? And the problem with liver is it doesn't taste good. That's the problem. It doesn't taste good, right? So But if you mix it in the right way and use the right seasoning, very nutrient dense. And like I said, it's part of it. So this is a fan show.
Okay.
You know that, Travis, right?
Okay.
We're
Yeah, of course.
we're all about getting fans to talk and all of that. So we always shout out the first person in the chat because it's quite the race to get here. All right.
Oh.
And so this episode, it was Kyle Simmons who said, "Let's get it." So congratulations to Kyle Simmons, first one in the chat. Kyle Simmons knows that we go live every Tuesdays and Friday nights, and Travis was with me last Friday, and it's dare I say it's starting to become a thing. I listen. I'm just gonna go out on a limb. I'm just gonna say it's starting to become a thing. This is 2 in a row.
Well, if you tell people that it's a thing, then they start expecting it, and then I don't show up, then it's a problem.
Listen,
I want that heat from Duval.
Listen, first date and second date, a lot of big differences. Big differences between first date and second date. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave it there. All right. I'm just going to leave it there. All right.
Facts. Got you. All of a sudden, I'm going to become the toxic boyfriend. I got you. All right, cool.
I heard that, I don't know if you've ever heard this before. I heard if your name starts with a J, that you're automatically toxic. That's what I heard once upon a time. So that sounds like some girl math to me. But
what woman told you that? Because that's absolutely what it was. They saw your name started with a J and was just like, you know what I heard? You terrible. That's basically what I got from that.
I think you're right. I think you're right, but that's okay. I'm a glutton for punishment, so we'll call that. We'll call that. DJ M said, Jason's son. Robbie Santa says, what up, United? It's week 1. I swear we have Dolphins film. I swear. And if you know anything about this show, it's going to take a while to get there, but it's okay. You know, I want to hear about what's going on with Travis, so I'm not going to get there right away. Rod Jeeb says, just opened a bottle of wine. It's week 1. We're breaking down film. This is what it's about right here.
Yeah.
I've never broken down film with Travis before. Like, I have this like immense excitement within me. And like, ever since you told me you were coming on, I was like, oh, I got these clips because especially because the 2 games that I clipped were games that the games that the Dolphins didn't do well in offensively.
Oh, good. That should be interesting.
Yes. I clipped week 18 and 17 when they played the Bills and the Ravens, and I know those are both good teams, but it's like, Jags were a good team.
The Bills and the Ravens, but that was also when Tyreek was hobbled, right?
I mean, he played.
I know he played, but he wasn't.
But here's the caveat: that week 18 game against the Bills was for the division. And if the Dolphins would have won that game, they wouldn't have had to play that first round game against the Chiefs that they lost.
That's
so there was a lot on the line on that week 18 game. So they were trying.
It's not, and I want to be clear in saying this because I had this. I won't call it even an argument. There was a YouTube short out there that with me and Kyle Nash of formerly of Jaguars on SI, who now writes for Fans First Sports Network. Goodness gracious, FFSN. And basically he was saying kind of the same thing, and I'm like, that was basically Tyreek wasn't fully healthy. He wasn't himself, and because of that, teams played them a little bit differently as far as the secondary. That's why I'm like, because Tyreek just changes the ball game, bro. He really does, man. But so I'm excited to see these clips because, as you already said, I hadn't seen them yet, so it's gonna be interesting.
I'm not going to spoil it yet, but there's actually somebody on the Dolphins that I fear more than Tyreek Hill.
I don't want to, because you don't want to spoil it. I'm not even going to ask you questions, but you got me thinking.
Celtic Jag says first in the chat from Ireland. That's fair. That's completely fair. I'm going against Love, Brown, and Elliott right now. I put a bet in because you know me. I'm a little bit of a degenerate. I put a bet in that the first person to score a touchdown was going to be Saquon Barkley. There hasn't been.
There is a touchdown. I'm looking at 2 touchdowns now.
Okay, so Saquon Barkley. Wait.
I just turned the game on. I just saw the Green Bay touchdown.
Did the Packers score a touchdown? They had to.
Just now. Yeah, just now on a run to whoever number 11 is. I can't.
But did Barkley score first?
I know. That's a wonderful question. I don't know. I know Philadelphia scored first.
Philadelphia scored 2 field goals.
No,
and then Barkley scored. So I think I don't know if it counts as a receiving touchdown, but if it does,
Philly has 7 points, so they scored something.
So Barkley scored on a passing reception.
Oh, so now you got to figure out what your bet was. What
So my bet was
specifically your
Barkley
bet
was going to score the first touchdown. But it could have been first to score. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. We have this comment I like. Jalen Hurts might be ass. That's from Raw Jeeves.
Okay. that is possible. The possibility is out there.
Jaggernaut said, "Oh man, it's here. Let's go Jags. Beat those Dolphins."
Yes.
Brenneman says, "What's up from work? I'm off in 20 minutes." All right, Brenneman, we'll see you in 20 minutes in the chat. I'll be at the game. Jags will be. Oh, nice. B. Holly's headed down to Miami. Okay. Travis, what's your excuse for not heading a few hours south down to the game?
I mean, I had a great excuse, honestly. I didn't want to go. That was it. It really came down to that. I just didn't want to go. Yeah, I could easily be there. Just didn't want.
Hey,
they just came from Tampa today. It was basically the same timeline of a Miami drive. It was 3 hours and 45 minutes because of traffic. So I could have gone. Just didn't want to.
No further explanation needed, in my opinion. Listen, that's all I needed to hear. I mean, that's fine with me. SR says big ups. Volkfang says, "What's up, Jags fan?" Jaggernaut says, "Travis, what's up, man?" So Travis, what is up? Give us a second. Tell what's going on with you.
Oh, honestly, nothing. I'm ready. I'm ready to figure out what's going to go on with this. Like, honestly, it's stuff that you guys won't want to hear about, man. It's
okay. Listen, first of all, you must be new here. He's not asking about what's up with the Jags. He's asking what's up with you personally. Okay, we need some personal interjection here.
All right. Here we go. You know how busy I always am. So I'm probably up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, writing an article for BigCatCountry.com. Save it as a favorite, please. Yeah, or I'm doing something on the socials, or I'm doing a billion podcasts. Got the Duval Dive. I got Inside the Pigskin on Tuesdays. I'm on here with you just for the love of the game, baby. We are doing all of this. I had to drive to Tampa early today, and again, that's whatever it was, 7 hours overall round trip. And that wasn't even for football purposes. That was just for other work stuff. So I'm just like, all right, cool. And then I am here with you guys, finally taking some woosah time down. This is the time down while watching some football over here, talking here, and figuring out what the heck is going on with this game because I'm playing a little bit of catch up. But honestly, that's really all it is. It's going and going and going. And also, being married, keeping my wife happy, difficult enough.
Job.
And 2 kids and trying to be engaged with that. Like, come on, man. That's what it is.
Hey, listen, we like to humanize people around here. Like, so often people try to hide behind this facade that they're not normal people. When the reality of it is we're all Jags fans. We're all normal people. Okay.
Dude,
all right.
Everybody's normal. And as soon as you guys meet these players, you're going to slowly realize they're normal people too, who just happen to have millions of dollars.
Right. Exactly. DJ M says, "Is Travis in defeat?" And that's a reference into a late into the Tuesday night show. Somehow we got off on a tangent about how weird people are that are into feet. And please don't judge us off that. Okay.
Wait. I said I'm not into feet. Why are you blaspheming all the other people who are into it? Like, if you're into it, that's your business.
Somebody said, I judge and ridicule people that are. And I said, it's okay to judge, but don't ridicule. Okay. Don't ridicule. Like, if you want to judge in your own mind, like, that's fine. But like, when you step into the ridicule realm, now you're just being mean. That's what I said. Said.
Everybody into something that somebody else thinks is interesting, thinks it's weird, thinks it's funny, thinks it's like whatever it may be. I'm cool with that, man. As long as you happy, live your life, man.
Right.
And enjoy your feet, because there's somebody out there who just loves that. Maybe you might find a girl who wants to suck your toes. Comment to Kyle Simmons. I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You get some dime piece that's like, I'm into feet. We're gonna be like, oh no, that's weird.
Oh, that's fair.
You're gonna be into feet too.
Fair. If you find the finest thing on this side of Florida, and if she tells you right now, I'm going to be with you, but you gotta let me suck your big toe once a week, and you gonna tell her no?
Yeah, exactly. Great point. Thank you. That's all I was trying to say. I wish I could have said it that eloquently last week. Long John Silver says, don't answer that, Travis. Go ahead, Stu. All right, we got to scroll down. I know you got some good comments here, but if it's a good comment and you missed it and I missed it, just type it again. Lewis does say 5th on the like button, so yeah, go ahead and like the video. These Yeah, I mean, it helps the algorithm, you know. You know what I actually say instead of, and this is what I've kind of, and Travis, you may not know this. So I used
Yeah.
to be like what I call a professional YouTuber. And what I
Okay.
mean by that is I used to like really try hard. I would try hard. I'm not going to lie. I took a sabbatical in June. And this is after doing, I was on a podcast and I did YouTube videos from like 2017. So I did years and years of Jags content. I got to June of last year. I took a month off. I said, no YouTube videos, no film breakdowns. That's usually when I break down college prospects and things like that. I took a month off. I came back with a completely different perspective where I'm like, I honestly would rather just be myself than be what I think YouTube wants me to be. Okay. And greatest revelation I've ever had. The shows has more views now than it did before. Things are going a lot better, but the downside is like things like promoting the like button. I don't care about the YouTube algorithm. I want you to like the video. Here's where I kind of am now. Rather than hitting the thumbs up, tell a friend who's a Jags fan about the channel. Like, go word of mouth and say, hey, listen, this channel, Jags United, this channel, Duval Dive with Travis Holmes, who the video description is down below. Go follow it. Everything's in there. You guys already do, but it's down there if you don't. He does great stuff.
Thank you.
Go on there and like, rather than like hitting the like button, tell a friend, like, hey, check this video out. Send them a text like, hey, they're live.
Nice.
I would rather you do that because then I trust those people rather than the YouTube algorithm is going to send it to some jabroni who, you know, is doing whatever. So that's just me personally. I've had an awakening of sorts. So since we're promoting you,
I've already told you I respect the way you do it. Like I do, because the people that do it because frankly it's a job, or they just do it because they got to get the content out. You're pooping out content,
right?
And it's not always going. And if you're pooping out content, then you may hate it. You're just putting it out there for the sake of, and it's not going to have that same zeal as if you're doing it because you love it. I've always told you I love your content because I know you want to do it. You can see it.
I mean, yeah. So that's where we're going to operate for the next season, and we'll see. Cool. So Lewis says, "So you want me to hit the dislike button?" Sure. Don't care. But that will lead me into, I do want to get into some film. And yes, we're 22 minutes into the show, but that's what we do it around here. Okay. So we got some film, and Travis, I'm so excited because this is like the first time I get to break down film with someone else who understands X's and O's. I'm so excited right now. I'm so excited. So
to be clear, this is my first time breaking down film with someone. Well, let me rephrase. This is my first time breaking down film with someone else. I'm used to breaking down a live event. That's different. I can break, you're in the press box. You're surrounded around other media guys. You're talking about the game. Everybody's screaming out what's happening, whatever. This is different because there's replays. And I love, and replays help you. Oh, no. Now I'm sure this is what it is versus I saw it once and I'm waiting for the TV to show their copy. This should be fun. This should be good.
And keep in mind, not only do I have the sideline angle of all these plays, I also have the end zone film of all these plays. So we get to see like the receiver routes and the route concepts and the defensive coverages and where the linebackers drop. But we also get to see the offensive line and their first step and the defensive line and the gaps they fill and all of that as well. So
yes,
we are in an advantageous position, if I will say so myself. And sometimes I have some sort of order where I'll be like, okay, these are all plays by the Miami offense. These are all plays by the Miami defense. But I think that would be too easy on you. And since this is your first time, we're going to make you work a little bit, okay? So these are going to be in the order in which I clipped them, okay? So there's not going to be any order to offense or defense. And to be frank, these games are only from week 18 against the Bills and week 17 against the Ravens, which the offense did not play well. They had good plays, but they overall didn't play well.
So this is going to be versus a 4-3 defense and a 3-4 defense.
Yes.
Oh, freaking yes. All right, cool.
Okay, so let me start you off with these two plays actually are the two people that I am most afraid of. I'm going to change the screen here so you can see All right. Are you able to see?
I can see.
Can you see the play? Okay. So let me just lead you into who I am the most afraid of. It is not
Okay.
Tyreek Hill. It is not Jalen Waddle. It is not Mike McDaniel indirectly. It's not Tua Tagovailoa. It's De'Von Achane. De'Von Achane is absolutely the scariest MFer on this team. Okay.
Yeah.
Averaged 8 yards a carry. Okay. 8 yards a carry. This Jags defense isn't really a team that can stop the run really well historically.
Yeah.
And
You're
I
not
got to
wrong.
say, I'm terrified because not only do they use him in the run game, they use him in the pass game. And this dude is an absolute animal. Okay. So this is just a toss sweep. Okay. So, Travis, let me ask you, you're lining up and you see the Dolphins. They are in an obvious, they're in a 2 tight end set and a 1 running back set. So we call this 12 personnel ace. All right. And then they got 2 wide receivers tight. So we like to do a little bit of educating around here. We'd call this 12 ace tight. Right. Would you agree with that?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So the Ravens, they're stuff in the box. I mean, they got 10 guys in the box, right? They got 1 free safety. I can't remember. I mean, they probably will play some sort of man. The way that the corners are aligned with these outside leverage, I'm guessing I'm guessing they're going to play a man, but like if he goes in right away, they're going to pass him off. Just guessing. All right, watch what they're able to do. So I'm going to play the play through so you can see it, and then I'm going to rewind it. Okay. All right. So this is the sideline angle. A little pre-snap motion, lead blocker.
Yep. You got a pin in the crack, and he's out of there.
Yeah. And like no one even tackled him, by the way. They from the end zone.
You got to give the wide receivers credit, man. I enjoyed the fact that the wide receivers block. You see that crack from the outside receiver? I think that's Waddle. He cracks down. Look
at this tight end getting downfield. All right, so you're
pin the guy to the inside. Yeah.
So you see the pre-snap motion, and so you're zeroing in on this receiver right here.
That makes the play.
Crack back block. And I mean, this is like defensive back 101. Crack, crack, crack. You're yelling crack right away. Like this is like, because this is the nastiest block that could happen to you if you're in the box. This crack back block. I don't understand. I guess this motion tight end blocks 99, I guess. This is just hat on hat football. So I mean,
well, they don't have to block the mic because they just believe that either he's going to shoot the gap right there and they're going to outrun him and that's going to make them right, or he's going to have to scrape over top and he doesn't have the speed to keep up with Achane. Yeah, you're right, and even when you're wrong, that makes this weird.
So who has to win? Who has to win here for the defense to win?
So you have 26 getting cracked, so then you have a crack and fill. Who's outside of 26 right now lined up on top of him? He has to fill outside and make them come back inside. I believe that's either that's a safety or that's another outside corner that's there.
So that's an outside corner. That's an outside corner, right? Oh, I don't know, actually. Let's go back and see. Let's go back a little bit
to the other view, just when they line up. So right now the crack, yep, there you go. So right now the crack is inside right here. He has another guy there to fill, because that looked like there was going to be a blitz in either case. So the corner there, as soon as he makes contact with that corner on that crack and field,
he's got to put his back inside
because there's no one else there. He has to replace. And that's when all he's doing is just peeling back in. Well, they reached the end. As soon as they reached the end with that speed and was outside of him, he could not force fill. He could not set the edge there. No one else is left. It's the corner and Achane. 1-on-1, and if he gets up the seam, it's kind of a wrap. Like there's no one else there. It's crack and replace, and it's and he's soft with it. So you see, he's not attacking the line of scrimmage. Rightfully so. He's a pass first defender.
This is a good play call.
Right. I saw that same play call because again, I haven't watched any film since the last time we talked when I only watched 2 games, but they did this against the Broncos on at least 3 or 4 plays where the linebacker it's got to be the guy to make the play, and the cornerback's going to have to be the guy to push them back inside. The linebacker has to hit that gap inside and kind of run them down from the backside, but someone has to push them back inside.
If we count hat on hat, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
We count the Ravens hat on hat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
So we should be good here for the Ravens, right? Like,
yes.
So we know that Roquan Smith's is like we're not even worried about him because he's gonna have to scrape to get to the outside.
Right.
But if he gets in here and blows up one of these blocks, we're good.
There's not even a block for him to blow up. Play it again. And just watch the lane that exists there. But he's going to be running from behind there, right? There's a hole. You see what I mean? They don't even have to block him.
Yep.
They just have to make Achane They just make Achane just outrun him. That's the goal.
And
we're going to have a guy unblocked.
The cornerback does actually technically turn it back inside. So, like, he does all he can do here. But he's just so fast.
It's just one guy that's unblocked, and as long as you're fast enough, you can make the play call right, even when the play call's wrong. Like, that's it. And
I guess now that I look at it from this angle, I guess when I'm looking at the problem here, it's that you have 1, 2, 3 Ravens getting blocked by 1, 2 Dolphins.
But that's crack and peel. I mean, that's that pin and pull. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right.
That's the whole concept of it. Is they know that there's going to be guys who have ways to get to the running back, and the hope is that he can just beat them to the corner. And as long as that defensive end doesn't blow the play up, or the corner doesn't blow the block up for the puller, there's no one else home.
So we're looking at this from like the Jags point of view. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So the Jags are on defense. And if this play happens to the Jags and you are a defensive coach, what I'm seeing as the issue here is that as soon as this linebacker or number 6, as soon as he gets the read that it's kind of might get kicked outside, he needs to go blow up an outside shoulder, right? And he needs to try to at least let Roquan Smith fill the backside, the cut back, and he needs to go help on the outside. But it's tough when you got 2 guys that are supposed to be doing that. But he needs to blow up 72's outside shoulder.
But there's still the conversation of the fact that the DB was not necessarily supposed to be even in the run field on all coverages. He just happened to be on this one. Because when they crack on 26, he was blitzing.
Yeah.
That could not have been a read. He was blitzing. So they knew he was coming based on the alignment or like from the start of the play. So yes, you're right that he should be attacking the outside shoulder, but nevertheless, Miami knew before they snapped that ball that he was blitzing. That's the only reason that they would have even ran that pin. The pin would have then been on the corner or the safety at that point.
Well, let's move on. Let's move on to another Achane play, because again, I'm going to make the case that I think Achane is actually the most brutal dude that we have to stop here. All right, so they probably will do a pre-snap motion somewhere, but we know before the pre-snap motion, they have 1 tight end, they have 1 running back, 11, and they're in the pistol set, right? 11 pistol, which I'm a big fan of the pistol. If I was an offensive coordinator, that's what I would run, because then you could line a guy up here, do stuff. You could line up a guy up here. You could. I'm a huge fan. The pistol to me is a modern wing T. That to me.
Modern wing T.
Think about it. Think about what a wing T is. You have the 2 wing backs outside the tight ends, but instead of that, you line them up in next to you. Or a pistol in a wing T, you have a running back behind you, and you have 2 wing backs to one side. But instead of having a tight end and a wing back, you have a tight end and a guy in the backfield as a
that's fair.
That's
fair, and you're getting rid of the weakest part of the outside zone. Because now you're not guaranteed to go that one way. You can go literally either side. That's fair.
Yep. So here we're going to see them in the pistol here. This is against the Bills. This was the different game. Pre-snap motion, of course. Oh, the counter toss. I just can't even. With that, dude.
What? And I guarantee they don't block the mic. I didn't even look at him, and I'm like, wait a minute, where? Oh, they guess they got a hand on him, but it didn't even matter at that point.
That missed tackle was that Micah Hyde. the safety, the free safety, or no, the strong safety that comes down.
So he actually
Right.
beats the block.
Oh,
Yeah. Hyde.
I mean-
And even if Hyde makes that tackle, it's still a 10-yard gain.
I know.
But no, the defensive lineman right there on the right tackle, well, the left tackle, I should say, on the defense, beats the block. He's in the hole, and Achane just like, bye. Watch it. Yeah, he beats the block. He beats the
gets
play.
sealed.
Even with the double team. No, watch. Keep watching. Let him take one more step. He beats the block, and it doesn't matter.
Oh,
And it doesn't matter.
I'm telling you, bro, he's the X factor in this game. Look at that. Look at that lane. And he has the vision to put his foot in the grass and go. And then this is just disgusting.
Yeah, like I don't want to pretend like these guys are just so incredible, but it's a great scheme for the exact players that they just happen to have, and it's not an easy challenge. So when the Jaguars win, and I did say when the Jaguars win, that makes it a much more impressive victory because this is not an easy team to play against on defense. You have to be perfect nearly all the time.
Travis, have you ever been in this situation right here?
Yes. I think all DBs have, and it's embarrassing. Yes.
What's going through your head when you're in the Michael Jackson position like this? What's going through your head? What's going through your head?
Like, damn. Like I hope they don't put this on video on Monday. That's what it's gonna be. You're gonna be on the front because you watch film with the whole team, offense and defense. You're all in the room together. Everybody's laughing at you because you can laugh about it. After the game's over. Yeah. Everybody's laughing at you, pointing at you. Coach got jokes. Yes, all that. You don't want to be the guy.
That's what I'm saying. It's like this is Micah Hyde. This is not Darnell Savage. Okay, this is.
Dang. Oh, wait.
Listen,
Calm down.
Real. I'm just being real. This is not. I mean, this is a Pro Bowl safety right here, and Achane is making him look stupid.
But there's a reason Micah Hyde is also a free agent right now. Can we keep that a book? Like, it's just calling what it is. He's currently not signed.
Okay. All right. One more play from Achane, and that's it. All right. One more play. Okay. So here, obviously, we're in 10 gun 2x2. Yeah. 10 guns. There's no tight ends. One running back in the backfield. We're in gun formation. They're gonna go motion. So 10 gun motion. We read left to right like a book. So there's 2 receivers here, 2 receivers here. So 10 gun motion 2x2. All right. Just for the educators out there that want to learn how to the formations and all that. They're going to put him in motion here.
They're going to bump him out. Yep. There you go.
The Ravens look like they're in. I mean, they're looking too high, right? I mean, this
right. No, yeah, it's looking like some kind of cover 2 shell.
It looks like a 2-man, maybe. Right, because he did chase him out here. He looks. I mean, we don't know yet. The corners could be playing flats. We don't know.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Well, looking at the top corner, looks like he's actually playing more of a cloud because he actually has his hips inside. Bottom corner is probably playing man because he's actually like squared up on the receiver.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, cloud.
Sorry, spot.
Okay, cloud means the corner is playing the hard flat. Am I right here?
Something like that, yeah.
Hard flat. So when he says cloud,
more of a zone, more of an area.
So when he says cloud, it starts with a C. That means the corner is playing this like hard flat right here. Okay. If we were to use the term sky, that would mean the safety is playing that hard flat. So we got the cloud here. So he potentially could think he has help behind him, which he does. Like Travis said, he's got a little bit of a head up alignment here on the bottom of the screen. So he could be in a man. So he could be playing more of like a in and out with the linebacker on the 2 receiver. Because we call this the 2 receiver. We call this the 1 receiver.
Right.
Doesn't matter. They're going to throw the screen.
Okay.
And I mean, I do immediately kind of see looks like a hold here, but we'll see from the end zone and see how that looks. I don't know. Just a block in the back.
And unfortunately, the corner is the force player.
Yeah.
But you already have the receiver on him. So it's just a foot race at that point.
Mm-hmm. Stupid. He's just so fast, and he sees the gap, and he just hits it full speed.
Right. It's not even a bad play call. Like it's not. I mean, from the defensive stance, it's not a bad play call. It's actually a very solid call for what they're doing. Like the only way you can make that any better is probably just lining up in the press alignment. Then maybe you like
Yep.
that's just disguising it a little bit better. Maybe he throws that, you can get a 3-yard loss or something like that. But that's about it.
I mean, again, if we're talking if we're the Jags and we're critiquing the defense, I guess maybe Roquan Smith vices inside out with the safety. But again, when you're live bullets, that's hard to do.
Yeah, that's a split decision, and he's going to try to. It's not going to work. I mean, Achane's going to go inside.
I mean, Roquan overruns that by a mile.
All right, maybe a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing is he's got so much speed that this DN can't get back in. And now you're in trouble.
Right. When he catches the ball, you look like you're in a good spot. When he catches the ball and he takes 3 steps and it's like, wait a minute, this might be a problem. And I'm not trying to just rave about the Dolphins. That's not what this should be, but it should show you that it should be something worth being cautious with, something to be concerned about. I think that's a fair point.
My whole motif and thesis is that everyone's getting so worked up about Tyreek Hill, and he's a good player. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad player.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Waddle and Jalen Ramsey and all these guys. Like, those are all great players, but the Dolphins beat you with Achane. That's I mean, I've watched a lot of their games this year. They beat you with those guys. Like, if you give up a big play to Tyreek Hill, you never want to give up big plays. But, you're going to lose the game by not stopping Achane. And that's the bottom line. Like, I've watched almost all these games. Like, that's the common theme is, like, that's who beats you.
I mean, Mostert also beats you.
Mostert, they kind of bring in a little bit. And,
I thought he was the main guy.
No,
he's going to get get the most of the reps, but Achane's going to get most of the explosive plays.
No. I think when we look back after week 1, Achane's going to have more touches than Mostert.
Oh, so you're saying in prediction? I'm saying what happened. So I'm saying what actually happened in like real life versus not predicting what's going to happen.
I think Mostert gets you those like inside zones, the draws. And even that they use. I'm telling you, Achane's the X factor. I'm telling you, he is the X factor.
I don't disagree at all. I've been saying it all off season. This isn't new information for me. I'm with you on this. I'm not disagreeing at all. I've always thought, hey, if who runs the ball better is going to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I said it the last time you told me I was crazy because I thought
the
Jaguars had to run for 175.
That can't be true. That can't be true. I would never say that.
You didn't say I was crazy. You just said it's not going to happen. So the Jaguars they apparently are going to lose because they can't do the thing that I think they have to do to win.
We'll see. I took the Jags to cover 3.5. Let's just say that. Okay. I just say that.
Like, y'all going to lose close. All right.
All right. So I clipped this play because Cedric Wilson Jr. is no longer on the Dolphins and he makes this play. He's on the Saints now. But this route concept and this formation is like, how do you even I wanted to clip this to ask you, how do you even stop this? Okay, like we've talked about in the past, Mike McDaniel, eventually it does come down to someone's got to make a play, right? But take a look at what they do here, man. Like 10 gun personnel, no tight ends, they got one running back in the backfield, they got trips to the left from the offense.
And nobody's pressing.
Yeah, no one's pressing. And okay, if you're gonna press this guy, right? Like press this guy, and like
I'm weirded out the fact that nobody's pressing right now.
Right.
But I'm like,
no,
okay,
I agree.
Cool.
I mean, if I were running a defense and you saw any types of trips bunch, you're pressing the front guy. Like you just have to. You just have to. So they're deciding they're not going to. So they got some defenders here. They got a linebacker, they got a corner, and they got a safety, and they got an up guy. So like, if you can communicate, you can take first guy out, you can take first guy in, and then you can take guy in the middle. Like it could work in theory.
Right.
Okay. The problem is look at this route from Cedric Wilson, dude. Watch this route. Imagine trying to cover this. And it's a great throw and a great catch. It really is. I mean, I'll give you that. Like the defense was actually there, but like if you execute your throw and your catch like this, This is almost unstoppable. Like, watch it again from the sideline. Out, in. If you
that's not bad. Like, that's from all points of view, that's probably a play the defense can make 9 times out of 10. They got to play a little bit more aggressive. You can't be playing that soft on the goal line. Like, the fact that your safety's backing up the first 2 steps and there's not a real threat other than Cedric Wilson. You're in the middle of the end zone. You just got to play. You got to play that more aggressive. That's nothing else. Like, there's no speed to be scared of. You're in the end zone. They can't run by you.
I'm with you, and that's why I said at the beginning, like, if it's my defense, I'm pressing this guy, and we might even eliminate this altogether. But, like, if you take a look at Achane, he runs this little Texas route that the Jags scored with ETN. And, like, if I'm a defense, like, that's what I'm scared of. Like, watch the Texas route. I mean, this is just creative right here.
Right. That's the sugar. That's the attention to get the linebacker to jump in underneath so that you open that lane and put it right on top of him. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, you got to watch this. And if you watch it from the reverse angle, he actually pump fakes a tad bit on that Texas route. See?
Yep.
See that?
And that pulls the linebacker right out that one step to get him right inside of him.
That one step.
Man, effort. Just play man the whole second half. Cover one. Man.
That's hard to stop. That's what I'm saying. And, like, you can't expect that throw and that catch every single time, because that was a great throw and a great catch. And, like, I know you've heard it. When I was coaching DBs and I teach them how to, like, play the hip, play through the hands, play the eyes, you cannot stop a perfect throw and a perfect catch. I've told that to a lot of DBs.
Your goal is to make it as difficult as possible to put into the smallest hole as possible, but perfect throw and perfect catch will never be beat.
Exactly. And that's why I kind of think that this play, why I said at the beginning, might be unstoppable, because this is a perfect throw, perfect catch, perfect route concept. The defense
was too soft. The defense was still too soft.
You're right.
But to your point, it's still moderately tight defense that makes
32 could have played through that a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you can't ask for perfection. The fact that they make you ask for near perfection on most of these plays still says something. Like, there's something to be said for that.
I don't have this play labeled, so okay, all right. So that's okay. All right, so now we got some things that the Jags could expose for on offense. Okay, so we've talked about what Miami does on offense. That's great. Ooh, Miami's so great. We already talked about that. So where can the Jags expose the Miami defense, I think, is where we're going to move to next. So I don't have this play clipped, so I'm going to have to play it through, because I can't remember. I have it clipped. I don't have it labeled, so I don't know what happens on this play. So I'm going to play it through, and then it'll jog my memory. I have the rest of them labeled. This one I don't.
I'm actually shocked that it's not a run.
Oh,
play.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is just poor coverage. They just catch them in the cover one. I mean, that was a nice little rub route, though. A pretend non-pass interference rub route. Yes. Yep. That's nice right there. So they're in cover one, straight cover one. When you see this corner start running, you know they're in cover one, right? Yeah. Dead giveaway, at least to the right side of the field. Boom, the running back. Boom. It's the running back.
Travis.
So this is like, all right. So ETN, Tank Bigsby, DeAndre Johnson, whoever it may be, you're going to get a situation where you got one-on-one with the linebacker. Is Doug Peterson and Press Taylor going to be able to have the foresight to say, all right, we're going to run a little wheel route?
I really hope so.
I hope so. Because that's all day. If you catch them in a cover one and run a wheel, I mean, there's nothing better than a wheel against a cover one. There is nothing better.
So am I hearing that you're getting on board with the fact that the Jaguars might be able to have 175 yards at the running back position?
I just don't know if I trust. I don't think I can remember the Jags ever running a wheel route. And maybe that's on me. Maybe that is on me, but I just don't know if I can remember the Jags running a wheel route.
From the running back, you mean? Specifically?
Right, yes.
Because I'm like, I know Kirk's ran a few of those.
Right.
But
Yeah. From the running back position. Because when you
all right,
get a cover one
in
read and you're
Indianapolis,
one-on-one with the linebacker, I mean, one-on-one, I'm taking ETN, I'm taking Tank Bigsby, I'm taking any of them on a wheel route.
all right. So we've run a few wheel routes, but we have not run very many of them successfully. I can tell you right now that we ran a wheel route with ETN against the Giants when we played them back in 2022. We ran a wheel route against the Colts in week 1 of last season. I only remember those two because both of them was incompletions, and I thought that they were terrible at throwing the ball to the running backs. But outside of those, I can't speak to any other ones that I've seen. So we don't do it frequently for sure.
Why not? Why don't we?
Well, we haven't really gotten the running backs involved in the passing game historically here. And this offseason is the first offseason that we've seen them place an emphasis on it. Like they've talked about it in their press conferences. We've seen it in practice. We've seen it in the game with his touchdowns. So that it sounds like that they've been made aware of that fact at a time when Travis Etienne really needs to be more involved in the offense because, he's fighting for that contract. Yeah. So maybe this is the year you see it. For all of you who have him in fantasy, maybe this is the year.
I have him in fantasy, that's for sure. Here's another encouraging thing. This is like the Bills, and they're going to run just a simple screen pass to Khalil Shakir. All right, we'll play it through, then we'll rewind it back.
The screen.
A great block from the wide receiver. I mean,
I don't even know if that was the real play call or not. Was that a run? Was that a check? Or...
That had to have been like an RPO, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Great job, Josh Allen. Josh Allen saw this nickel blitz. This is a cerebral quarterback right here.
Okay.
Saw the nickel blitz, knew it was coming pre-snap. You had the little RPO bubble because you saw this. Was it under the guard or the tackle pulled?
Right.
So you had the RPO there.
Nice. That is a nice play call. I hope we have. I mean, I know we have a billion screens, Jaguar fans, because you love those so much from last year in our playbook. But yeah, that's an interesting one.
How did Josh Allen know that he was blitzing?
He's reading him.
But even here, he's not showing blitz here.
Well, look on the field right now. So if the play call is to the backside, like if the run is to the backside, that is literally his read, whoever the force player is. So he has like the edge is lined up either head up on the tackle?
I mean,
he may even be inside
to me.
Oh, that's what it is. If he's inside shoulder, then he has to be the force. He knows is that even a nickel back? I can't even tell.
It looks
is that a
like
nickel or is that the linebacker? All right, nickel back. Then he knows he has to be the force player. Like there's no one else here to turn to turn it back. So he's literally reading him. If he blitzes, then cool. There's nobody on top of him. If he if he stays home, then he just hands it off and they just run the play.
How do you know that he's not coming to force?
He would have to show you before, like pretty much now, like immediately he would have to show you.
Okay.
So
how do you know he's not? How do you know he's not like looping here and taking a stunt angle?
You don't worry about him. You hand the ball off. That's easy.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a much easier read, though.
He commits to the RPO throw before he commits to the edge, before he commits to blitzing.
I don't know if I agree with that. Play it.
All right, so look.
Play it and take one pause like after 1 second.
Okay, so right here.
Ball's not even in his hand.
Okay, so here he's about to snap the ball. There's no pre-snap indication.
Well, the indication is the fact that he's where he's lined up.
So you're saying right
lined
here,
up there with the safety over the top of him.
You're saying right here when he gets the ball, he's making the read.
No. I'm saying before the ball is snapped, he knows that he has a safety lined up over top of his slot, so that he already knows that nickelback is a risk to be a blitzer. At that point, you know it's either going to be him or your linebacker who's going to be your main threats to come from that side. You're reading the zone. You're reading the area. You don't have to read the individual people. But as soon as you see, before the ball even hits his hand, he sees him coming. It's an easy 1-2 read. It's like a half-field read at that point, except you're just not throwing. You're just throwing or running, if that makes sense. So as soon as the ball hits his hand, the blitzer's already at the line of scrimmage. He just makes the decision. Cool, easy. See, look, the ball is not even in his hand yet.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're right. That's the.
So
I mean,
it was the alignment. That's what it was. The alignment gave it away.
That's big brain football right there. That is big brain football right there. I mean, do you trust Trevor to make this kind of read? I mean, I do, but I want to hear your thoughts.
A lot of quarterbacks do it all the time. Like, honestly, I don't think that's some of the easier stuff, because people frankly rave about, Tony Romo saying it's going to be a blitz coming from this way, and I'm just like, everybody knows that, and it sucks to say everybody knows that, because I don't think that's fair to guys who make this their craft and do this for a living and analyze it and everything else. But most people who've played ball for most of their lives, or college and professional level, your main threats when you line up. Maybe not defensive linemen, because they don't have to pay attention to that kind of stuff, but like secondary guys and offense, wide receivers, quarterbacks, guys of that ilk, your threats, and that's okay. Like, I don't see it as it's so complicated, but as you line up, like, these are my main threats. When Amazon shows you this is the guy who's probably going to blitz, 90% chance he's going to blitz. They know that because of alignment and situation. Cool.
Hits him here.
Boom.
And then the receiver,
1-on-1.
Receiver ends up blocking two people.
Yep.
Great read by the receiver, Shakir.
1-on-1. Out of there. Yeah, that defense is all the leakage in the world. So if the Jaguars are able to hang with them, that is the way that you win, because you can't expect to hold them to low points most of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they can. Excuse me. They can absolutely be scored on. So all this drink.
And that was the argument I was making, because like Jordan DeLugo from Gen Jag, who I love, threw me the curveball at the end of Club Jaguar, and he was like, what good defense has the Dolphins beat? And you look through their schedule, and they hadn't really had any good wins against any good teams. All of their wins were against like subpar teams. And I started looking at it, and I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up here real quick. Dolphins, and I'll show you my point. Dolphins 2023 schedule. So I'll pull it up here, and you start looking through the schedule, and I'm a critical thinker, right? So I was trying to, and I was like, man, he's kind of got a point. I was like, so what is it that everybody fears about the Dolphins, right? So I started looking at, and my screen's a little big here, but you look at, this is preseason. They beat the Chargers 36-34. They beat the Patriots 24-17. They beat the Broncos 70-20. They lost to the Bills 48-20. They beat the Giants 31-16. They beat the Dolphins 42-21. Lost to the Eagles. So you start looking at, like, they lost to the good teams and beat the bad teams. And I was like, so what is it that everybody fears about this Dolphins offense? And then when I took a step back, I realized it's not that they just beat the bad teams. It's that they spanked the bad teams. And like they put up 36 on the Chargers, right? They put up 24 on the Patriots, who actually had a pretty good defense. Like, they put up 70 on the Broncos. And I know, like, well, it's the Broncos. Well,
so are we arguing good teams, or are we arguing good defenses?
Both. Defenses.
New York Jets are a good defense.
Okay, defense. We're arguing defenses because we're talking about the Dolphins' offense and how explosive they are. And his argument was they didn't beat any good defenses. But and like, you could look through the good defenses and you could make that, but like, that's just one criteria. Like, they put up 70 on the Broncos. And yes, the Broncos defense isn't elite, but what other team put up 70 on the Broncos? Nobody else. Okay. So then we move on. You look at a team like the Giants. Who else put up 31 on the Giants? The Panthers. Panthers aren't good, but who else put up 42 on the Panthers? Right. Then you look at
arguing. So you're saying that they got a lot of style points.
The Commanders don't have a good defense, but I can guarantee you maybe one other team put up 45 on the Commanders. So it's like, yes, I get that the Commanders aren't a good defense, especially in December 3rd when they trade everybody away. But people weren't putting up 45 regularly on the Commanders. So, like, yes, their defense wasn't good, but they put up 30 on the Jets. Jets were one of the best defenses all year last year.
Right. That was
so,
that's the only one that's different than the rest of them. They beat the Jets. They put up 34 points and 30 points against the Jets in 5 weeks.
And I get the argument. When you beat the Cowboys, you only scored 22. You played the Ravens, you only scored 19. You played the Bills, you only scored 14. You played the Chiefs in that snow game, you only scored 7. That's the last 4 weeks of the season. Like, and I get it. You have to factor that in. But like, it's not that they beat bad teams, but it's like all the other teams in the NFL played those bad teams and no one scored that many points. So it's like, that's my argument for their good offense. It's not that they beat up on bad teams. It's that they dominated bad teams.
So looking at this trend, I would agree with you that, again, that's the style points argument I would probably make for a lot of college teams. But
this isn't college. This isn't college.
I know, but people haven't seen something like that from NFL teams putting up these kinds of numbers on, pretty consistently.
Is there style points in the NFL? Does that even exist?
I don't think it exists, but these are still human beings. And I'm talking about the players, I'm talking about fans across the board. We're all human beings. So we give teams style points in how we talk about them, how we think about them. We fear them because of what we've seen them do something that nobody else has done. That's style points. I mean, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's not ranking, but it matters when we rethink about how they did last season, even if they didn't do as well as we thought they did, if you want to put it all into context. But yeah, we give them style points. But interestingly enough, I didn't even know Buffalo played them twice until literally a second ago. Looking at this schedule, I'm like, wait a minute, they did play Buffalo twice.
Yeah,
interesting.
We're in the same division, aren't they?
It didn't cross my mind. I wasn't thinking about it.
And I mean,
they
lost.
Lose to Buffalo both times, giving up scoring 20 and 14 points.
Well, and this is what I brought up at the beginning of the show is like this game here was for the division.
20 and 14 points, huh?
This game was for the division. Like this game was like winner gets a first round bye, or I'm sorry, not first round bye, but this winner gets a home playoff game. Loser travels, and Dolphins lost and had to travel to Kansas City and play in that negative 50-degree game.
Dolphins got shut out in the second half of that game.
And things may be different if they're playing at home in Miami versus traveling to the frigid Kansas City that weekend. So like this game was massive. This game was massive. And and that's why I watched this game like a few times, because you're right. Bills beat them twice. Bills fired their offensive coordinator halfway through the season.
So that's funny because again, I gave that win an asterisk, saying that Tyreek wasn't his normal self, and I viewed that totally differently. And now I'm having to reassess everything that I originally thought, literally on this podcast, because I'm like, wait a minute, they actually did beat them twice, and they didn't look as well as they looked at any other game in either one of those. That's curious. I didn't realize that. I can officially say I was wrong.
Listen, you don't have to say you're wrong, but just say you haven't thought through all the circumstances yet.
I didn't identify all the variables.
Right, exactly.
Apologies.
And I mean, I would be quick to be like, oh, well, the defense didn't play well. But I mean, 21-14, defense played well enough to win. I mean, that's on the offense there, because this next play I'm going to show is from that Bills game. And this kind of exposes where their soft spots could be. I mean, they're going to end up dropping in a zone here. I'll have to play it through because I can't really remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just drop into a zone.
Yeah. Run it back from the side view.
And this is something Trevor can do, is find soft spots in the zone if he has time. I mean, this is your basic bench concept right here.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out who's messing this up.
There was a miscommunication there somewhere. There was a miscommunication between this corner and this safety because they both followed the deep route, and this is why you run the bench concept. This is why you run the out and the vertical, because you make this corner make a decision. And with the safety over top, they should have this covered. If you're reading
they should easily have it covered. That's why I'm trying to figure out who screwed it up. But I don't know what their conversation was.
Obviously, there was no conversation, because if you're reading 2-1, and when we say that, what we mean by that for those watching is this is the 2 receiver, this is the 1. When you're reading 2-1, this player tells you what your assignment is. You bail, and then if he cuts in or out, then the corner knows what his responsibility is. Everybody
coaches it a little bit differently. So sometimes they'll say 5 yards, sometimes they'll say 4 steps, whatever it is. But after he passes, I don't know, 7 yards, you know the coverage.
I teach bail until he gives you something, because if they both go vertical, then if you both bail, you're fine.
You just bail, yeah.
Right. I say bail until 2 gives you a read. And so you bail, and then if he runs out, at least you can break up on it. But here, they both get their eyes caught on 1, and they both take the vertical.
So he's vertical.
I mean, the corner should have. I mean, it looks like they're in cover 2, and even if it's cover 4, because he does.
Yeah, I was about to say this is probably 4.
Yeah, so even if it's cover 4, I mean, if this is cover 4,
then the linebacker's wrong.
Then this is just the perfect route call to this. And this
linebacker should have gotten more. This linebacker should have gotten more depth, because
depth.
You have the you have the underneath guy who already is leveraging the running back in the flats. So you could have gotten more depth in your drop and found the nearest threat.
Yeah.
That's on that be on him at that point.
So would you say? I say this often, and I want to get your
play call though.
This is what I want to get your thoughts on. I say a lot of times, NFL football between an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator comes down to rock, paper, scissors. Okay. And I know this is however you spell scissors. I know this is an oversimplified version, but do you think there's any validity to, like, this is the defense calling scissors and the offense calling rock, because they went cover 4 and the offense called a bench concept right underneath the cover 4?
Well, I think most of these coverages, they'll have a man beater and then a zone beater, and they generally know most teams will play these main few coverages, these are their base coverages, and a lot of the times that's why they have that thing. What do they call it? Trend breakers, where a team to run something just this week just because they know that they have some data out there that says they're going to run this 90% of the time or whatever. So it is rock, paper, scissors, but it's rock, paper, scissors against a child. It's rock, paper, scissors against a 3-year-old that they don't really like. Generally what you're going to do, and this is what's going to be.
Then again, the defensive coordinators are putting in the equal amount of work, knowing what their tendencies are, anticipating a tendency breaker, and then throwing in stuff that is an anti-tendency breaker, right?
Yes. But to your point, this is the last week with everything on the line, and when the playoffs come, what do all teams for the most part do? Like, I can't say nobody changes it up, but when it's playoff time, hey, I'm gonna do what we do best, and you're gonna do what you do best, and you're gonna have to beat us doing our best, and you doing your best. This is probably something I'd be willing to bet that they play a lot. And they just knew that, and they knew it was coming. And this is how we know we're going to beat you.
Now, I just now noticed this, so I'm not going to take credit for anticipating this, but it's 2nd and 5. Why are you running cover 4 and 2nd and 5?
I don't know. What's the problem running cover 4 and 2nd and 5?
I mean, are they going to? Most offensive coordinators are going to you're not going to take a shot on 2nd and 5. You take a shot on 2nd and 3 and earlier. I feel like if I'm in 2nd and medium, I'm not going in cover 4. Cover 4 is to defend against the deep play. Am I wrong? Is cover 4 not?
That is what it's supposed to do, and it depends on the team you're playing against. If they can't run the ball, and I presume that Miami probably believes that Buffalo could not run the ball against them, I need to find out what they did in that game, but that's my guess. Is that they believe that they can stop you from running the ball with my front four and my linebacker still just playing it in that way, then I'm not going to give an extra man to the box when I don't have to. Cover 4, it solves the problems for the most part as long as you play it right.
Me
It's a good
personally,
problem-solving defense.
okay, and we'll get to UCF Jaguar says break it down, fellas. Appreciate you being here, UCF Jaguar. UCF Jaguar gets it. He knows gold when he sees it, right? Speaking of gold, Racha Sriracha, the sponsor of this channel, because they're this is gold hot sauce right here. Video description, Racha Sriracha, order you some. Am I wrong here, Travis, for saying
128 yards?
Me personally, I'm not running cover 4 unless I'm in 3rd and long.
Wow.
What other reason would you run cover 4? And I want to hear, like, what's your goal in cover 4?
My goal is to make you put it into some moderately small holes. I have most areas of the field. I have most areas of the field for the most part like on lock. I mean, you're going to have to give it to your running back and just hope to beat me to an edge for the most part. Like, I think I'm on I just have to rally. You're going to have to dump offs. My goal is to make you dump it off to that running back. You want us to just rally up and just make the tackle. Your goal is to make us miss that tackle. I don't think you're going to be able to beat me running the ball, especially you said 2nd and 5, and you're in shotgun. Like, come on, man. They knew they were running this. And now that I said earlier, looking at this game, James Cook, 13 carries for 36 yards. Leonard Fournette, 7 carries for 20 yards. Josh Allen was the leading rusher. He had 15 carries for 67 yards. They couldn't run the ball to save their life. So in my head, I'm like, well, if you can't even run the ball, and
I mean, off the top of my head, that's 130 yards rushing total.
It's 120 something yards rushing, and
right.
67 of it
that's
Josh
running
Allen.
the ball. That's running the ball. I mean, just because it came from your quarterback doesn't mean it wasn't running the ball, Travis. Okay.
I mean,
like, the quarterback could also be a runner, just in case
if
you
you're
didn't know.
Passing the ball, if you line up to pass the ball and you call a pass play and he scrambles, am I going to give you credit for running the ball? Yes, I guess technically, but not really.
To me, in a cover 4, you're giving up the medium sideline to me because your corner's bailing, your safety's bailing. And again, we saying this cover 4 just for a caveat. It could have been a cover 6, right? But it doesn't matter. To the side of the field.
Yeah, we don't really see. They don't do anything. Yeah,
right. So. To the side of the field they went, it was cover 4, right? So it doesn't matter if it's cover 4 or cover 6. It doesn't matter. But to me, cover 4 side, play side, you're giving up the sideline intermediate, and on 2nd and 5, that's not what I want to give up.
Well, earlier when I was saying the communication, because I don't know what conversation they had in reference to that. Because again, if this is your cover 4, this is what you're expecting. As soon as you get the motion going backside, this is what you're expecting the play call to be. You're expecting a flood of some kind of concept that's flooding the zone that way. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if do they have a tag or do they have a conversation with that linebacker telling them is that just badly played? It's not always going to be the play call, because I'm always the guy that says it's Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. The play call seems generally fine. I know that's not a strength of the defense, but I don't think it's a bad play call. I simply just think it's not played well. He has nobody else in his zone. He has no other threats.
It can't be cover 6 because typically when you run cover 6, you're running your halves to the weak side, and so this is the weak side.
You don't generally run the half field coverage to the field,
right?
But it's not to say it's not possible. You just normally don't want to do it,
right? I don't know what defense coordinator was thinking.
See what the bottom safety does. Is his first step backwards, or is he just sitting? His first 2 steps are forward.
So I was about to say, you think they're expecting the run here?
But then that still gives away the fact that he's not in the run fit.
Because Ramsey's playing close. He's got no responsibility. So I mean, that's what he's gonna do. Safety's playing down. He might have bit on the play action. Maybe.
But I'm saying if he bats on the play action, he's not even in the run fit. That's my point when I said, so you might be right. It may not be cover 6 simply because even if he was rushing up for the run fake, well, that's not his responsibility at all. Either he busted it or that's not what they're playing at all. So I knew it was a split field coverage. I just don't know. I still think it may be cover 4.
Yeah, I think you're right. But what is this guy doing?
Again, I think that's a bust.
Yeah.
He's not even in the run. Like that's literally not your responsibility at all.
Yeah. And I mean, his threat is what, a post from 2. That's about it, right?
For the most part, yeah. You got nothing. You just helping out.
And the line's moving this direction. I don't know. All right, let's move on to another play. How about that?
So either the linebacker screwed up, or the corner should have been a little bit more aggressive. And well, no, you can't. I mean, it's the linebacker or nobody.
I mean, he got hands on him. I just to me, this is what I can't get over. To me, when you're playing cover 4, you're giving up that intermediate sideline because the corner's going to bail, the safety's going to bail, and basically what they gave up was what was open.
I don't understand. He walled the line. He walled the receiver out to where he thought his help would be, but there's no help there if they're running it at 10 yards.
Right. I don't know. That confused me. That's why I clipped it, because it confused me.
Yeah, it's not that it's confusing, it's that somebody just didn't play it. And I'd hate to say who's wrong, but somebody's wrong, and I don't know who.
Yeah. Well, when we saw a lot of that in this game, I guess is my point.
Oh, we've seen a lot of that in the Jaguars. I'm sorry. Yeah. That's what I thought you were referencing.
By the way, after watching last night's game, the alignment of this tackle gets flagged right off the bat.
They said they sent a lot of memos to all the teams this offseason.
The belt is here. And this dude,
maybe they want more sacks this year. I'd be a fan of that.
Oh, so they want their highest paid position quarterback getting hit more, is what you're telling me.
Good. Good. It's about time, man.
So obviously it's the Dolphins, so they're gonna go in pre-snap motion, and this looks like Tyreek Hill lined up in line. You're a defense. All right, Travis. You're playing defense, and you see Tyreek Hill lined up here. What are you thinking?
I mean, immediately I'm thinking he's going the other way, though. I immediately would not think he's going to motion outside. I'm thinking he's motioning across the line and just getting something quick and going the other way. But yeah, he does.
Not Mike McDaniels. Not Mike McDaniels.
Run and start down the sideline.
Okay, this is obviously illegal. I mean, he's going
obviously illegal.
Look at this. This is Canadian football.
I was just about to say it. CFL.
This is Canadian football right here. Okay.
Run and start.
This is the bright spot of potentially the Jaguars. Tua sometimes shows us his noodle arm.
Straight cover 3. Nice pick.
This is a completely underthrown ball. This is a completely underthrown ball. And he put everything he had behind that. Look at this guy. This guy put every little ounce of juice he had behind this throw. Watch this. This is everything he's got. Underthrown.
So this is something I mentioned on Wednesday's the Duval dive. It's interesting because a lot of teams either don't play physical, either play physical because they're slow, or they're fast and they're smaller, so they just can't play physical. Right now, the Jaguars are made in a very interesting way because we know they're probably going to play 4-2-5, right? Their base is probably going to be a 4-2-5 defense. Yeah. Darnell Savage is probably going to be your big nickel, which is good because the Dolphins do very well against dime. Something that Mia O'Brien said earlier this week that I thought was kind of like on point on one of her short YouTube shorts. The Dolphins were the 3rd best team against dime in 2023. Ryan Nielsen's Atlanta Falcons at the time were like 3rd in the league at running dime. So that's an interesting little takeaway going into the game. But I was also like, well, wait a minute. But in 4-2-5, the Jaguars are actually very solid at running that also. The Atlanta was. So the Jaguars, in theory, would be very good at running that. All those guys are fast. And they play aggressive. they do both, and I'm like, wait a minute. So Darnell Savage, 4-2-5, 4-3, 4-3-6 safety. Tyson Campbell,
8 years ago.
hey man, he ran
I'm
it.
just saying.
The clock was what it was.
I'm just
The
saying.
clock was what it was.
Yeah. Right.
Tyson Campbell, 4-3-3. Cisco, another 4-3-3 guy, and you had goodness gracious, Ronald Darby, 9 years ago. Well, I think it's ninth year in the league, right? 4-3-6, and I'm just sitting there like, dude. So these guys aren't slow either, but they're also playing an aggressive defense. That's probably not what you want if you're Tua. Like I feel like there is a lane for the Jaguars defense to have a really successful day. It's still asking for perfection. But there is a lane for it. Like there is a way that they can absolutely do this, and they without getting ran out of the gym.
I know I've said as much times. We got to stop Achane, dude. Like that's. I'm
So
with
let's
you,
so let's start having a conversation about the defensive line and the linebackers like Lloyd and Muma.
I'm with you, dude. I think we're fine, and like as fine as any team could be against Hill and Waddle. Like I'm not expecting perfection. I get that, but as fine as any team could be against those two guys. For our defense, I think the issue is going to be is stopping Achane on those draws, quick throws out of the backfield. We saw the screen. That's where I think we're going to struggle.
Stuff. So you're thinking the cheap stuff is going to just be hit. It's going to hurt us.
Yeah,
the dump offs, the draws, as you pointed out.
I don't trust Devin Lloyd filling the correct lane when he comes up to make a tackle. I don't trust what I've seen of these guys getting off their blocks and like I hope they do it. I want them to do it, but if the Dolphins are going to beat us, it's going to be there. Is what I'm saying. Because so I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. I just worry about our ability to stop their backs out of the backfield. And if they line up Tyreek Hill, back there, it's the same thing.
So this is so wild though, because this whole offseason, like they've done polls, like 1010 had this poll out that everybody was talking about what's your biggest concern? What's your biggest worry for the Jaguars? And every poll was like linebackers were at the bottom of the list. Linebackers, the one thing that nobody was worried about. We were all worried about the offensive line, defensive line. Well, a little bit, not as much now that we've seen them. And the DBs, right? Those were the concerns. And now we're the week of the first game. And the main thing that we're talking about is like, well, what are the linebackers going to do against this fast? Like, wait, that was the one thing I thought we were good on. Like, I thought we were comfortable with that.
Well, and I will give Fire God Flores credit, and I'll correct myself. I'm wrong. He says it's like year 5 for Savage, so I was wrong.
Oh, you said 8.
Okay, okay, that's fair. Listen, I'm not perfect. You think I'm gonna sit here and claim that I'm perfect? Okay, it's year 5 for Savage. I'll amend.
We all feel young. We think, hey, that guy was however many years old when I was in high school. And it's like, well, no. Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm 35, and I'm pretty sure I can still play in the NFL. I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure I can still hang in the NFL.
Bruh, if you're 35 and you're not a kicker, you are ancient in the NFL, man. That's it. That is a wrap.
I'll give him credit there. I'll give him credit. But what I was gonna say is it could be just team by team basis. Like when we played the Browns week 2, now we're looking at a little bit different. Now it's like, okay, their defense is good. Can we run the ball against the Browns? Now that's what I'm worried about is running the ball against the Browns. Whereas in this game, because of their McDaniel's ability to spread the field and do pre-snap motion, and we've already talked about the extent of how his misdirection on where the ball goes and where the play looks like it's going. Because of Achane's speed, I think he's going to create mismatches for our linebackers. But to be fair, he creates mismatches for most teams' linebackers. So I'm not saying the Jags have a deficiency there. I'm just saying teams that have beat the Dolphins stopped that is all I'm saying. So
why can't the Jaguars do the same thing that that sounds like a dumb question.
I know. I'm glad you didn't finish that sentence.
Because I know it's dumb because the Jaguars tried to run the general same scheme as far as the wide zone, the outside zone last year because they were so bad at interior run blocking. Wait, that sounds very familiar. Exactly like the Miami Dolphins last year. They did the exact same thing because they couldn't. And I always ask the obvious question, why didn't the Jaguars do the same thing Miami was doing? Oh, well, because their guys just maybe not as fast as this freaking guy who runs a 4.3. and the offense was also stagnant a lot of it last year.
Well, I mean, and I mean, I hate to admit this, but McDaniels is much more creative and innovative than Doug Peterson is. And
I'm sorry, Hall of Fame, play caller. Well, I don't know what they call whatever labels they give.
You have Travis. You have one play to win the game. You have one single play, and you get your choice between Doug Peterson calling the play or Mike McDaniels calling the play. Who are you picking?
Why you gonna put me on blast and make me lie in front of all these people?
And take out the Philly special. Take out the Philly special. That play doesn't count. Take out that play. You get one play to win a game. Who are you calling for a play call? Are you calling Doug Peterson or are you calling Mike McDaniel?
You know I'm not calling Doug, and I like Doug, but that's just not happening.
That's my point. That's my point in all this. And that's the problem is that like it kind of comes down to like they're so creative and fast that to overcome that, you either have to outscore them or you have to I know we're getting caught up on the last like 5 games where the Dolphins couldn't score. I don't know what happened there. Maybe that's what they are. And maybe I'm wrong and that's what they are. But we do know that they can put up 60 and 50 like at times. And so I'm just worried that
we know that their offense evolved over the 2022 season into the 2023 season, and then they struggled at the end of last season. So you have to ask the question of, are you even going to see the offense that you saw at the end of 2023
That's a good point.
Part of 2024? We may not even be thinking about the thing that they're going to be doing come Sunday. Like they weren't doing this motion out away from the line, away from the ball in 2022. That just started last year, and they caught teams off guard for the first like 4 weeks of the season because people were like, what the hell do you do with this, with your coverage communication?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Next time we talk, we're gonna be like, dude, how the hell did we not come up with the fact that they were going to freaking hike the ball to the, I don't know, sideways to the running back or some other nonsense?
Durham Smythe is going to go off against us, and they're going to use the tight end in some backfield formation.
Yeah,
you're right.
We're not even having the right conversation.
I guess that's my worry. Like, honestly, that's my worry is like, I don't know if we have the skill set on defense to adjust in game to stop what they do. Ooh. And it could be unwarranted.
So
but
are you concerned with the skill set on defense? Or are you worried about the mind on defense? Because that's a different thing.
I guess to me it's the same. Are we talking about when you say mind, are you talking about the defensive coaching or are you talking about the mind?
I'm talking about Nielsen. That's who will make
I'm not worried about Nielsen. I'm worried about when you play the Dolphins, you have to be instinctual as a player because you know you're going to get thrown things you haven't seen before.
Facts.
Do we have the instinctual skill set on the field? Like, I think Aluakon's very instinctual.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has the speed to be effective, if he has the instincts.
So all the guys who have the speed, basically, do they have the instincts to make this happen?
Right. And it's more than just, and when you say make it happen, it's like come up and make a tackle, defeat a block, keep the outside shoulder free. All the things like I'm not questioning if the Jags have it. I just haven't seen it. And I've seen the Dolphins like abuse defenses.
So do you view personally, Jason, this Jaguars team as any or even close to the level of any of those good teams from 2023? Or would you more categorize them as any of those bad teams that they beat in 2023? And I'll give you a second to relook at that schedule.
No,
where would you place the Jaguars?
I don't need a second because I have my answer.
Okay.
And it's kind of in the middle of your question. It's when we play a team where I think we know their bread and butter, like the Browns. Right. We know the Browns are going to try to run, play action, run, play action. And like we know they're going to do that. I think against those teams, we fare well because we can put our guys in the best spot to win. But when we ask our guys, for a lack of a better word, to play street ball against teams, and which is what you have to do against the Chiefs, which is what you have to do against the Ravens, and which I think you have to do against the Dolphins. When we ask our guys to play street ball, I don't think they're positioned great to do that. So I'm not saying by any means this defense is bad. I just think there's certain offenses that can do certain things that our defense isn't set up well to do. Now, can Ryan Nielsen out-scheme that? I sure hope so. I haven't seen him do it with this defense, so I can't say yes or no. But what I have seen, the defensive personnel that we've had in the past that are still on the team, they cannot do that. And so that's what leads me to have a little bit of reservation, I guess, if that makes any sense at all.
No, it makes total sense. So now I'm curious, because you said you haven't seen this defense do it, and I'm like, you're not wrong, especially under Mike Caldwell with that soft zone defense.
Right, and I can admit that
changes it.
Yeah,
but I don't like who did the Jaguars play? I'm sorry, Jaguars. Goodness, who did the Falcons play in 2023 that would be considered a solid, high flying, or an adequate good offense, because Nielsen did so well against did so well in Atlanta. And now that I'm looking at that schedule, I mean, it was a great success story of what he did in Atlanta, but I can also admit that I don't see one great performance against a good, and I don't mean like great, I just truly mean good offense.
Okay, well, let's speak. Okay,
I don't see it.
And listen, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Okay.
No, I'm being clear. I'm like, no, again, I like Nielsen.
Right. No, and I'll play devil's advocate because we both know that like a good offense helps your defense. Right.
Fair.
If you go 3 and out every drive, your defense cannot be set up for success. So we do have to kind of create a little caveat for that. Just a little, right?
Give him a little room for that. Yeah.
Right. A little room for that he didn't have that. So I'm not going to hold that too much against him. But we've talked about this. We talked about this last week. There was games where Ryan Nielsen went odd man front the entire game.
Yeah.
We haven't even wrapped our minds around the fact that Ryan Nielsen played entire games last year in the Falcons with a defense that looks like Mike Caldwell's. Like no one's has even been, I don't know if no one's watched the Falcons games last year. I don't know if no one's thought about this, but he played entire games with an odd man front, with a true nose, 2-3 techniques, and 7-9 technique. Like our defense, like last year, he played entire games with an odd man front. And but
that's because they came from a 3-4 defense, so they had the person. They made the defense. They adjusted the defense to the personnel that they had.
Isn't that what he's doing this year? Isn't that what he's doing this year?
Well, no. What I mean is, in Atlanta, the defense that they were coming from was truly a 3-4 defense. The defense we had last season was a 3-4 defense that probably should have never been a 3-4 defense personnel-wise. I think that's a fair way of saying that. We did not have the nose guard like Atlanta to truly demand a 3-4 defense. We simply played it because that was what Mike Caldwell's scheme was.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Truly answer. Is Josh Hines-Allen better hand in the dirt, outside shoulder of the tackle, or stand up in the 9 technique? Where's Josh Hines-Allen's better?
Hand in the dirt.
You think so?
I think so. I've always thought that.
I think Trevon Walker's better there. I think Josh Hines-Allen is better stand up. And he did that at Kentucky. I think he's better.
He did.
I think he's better stand up, 9 technique, disrupt with his athleticism. I think Trevon Walker's the opposite. So
interesting. Wait a minute. So 2017 defense, because that was a 4-3 defense. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, but Josh Allen didn't have career sack numbers that year.
He didn't have to have career sack numbers. He had a great season, though.
But he had career sack numbers last year. In what defense?
He had a career. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this.
I'm just saying. He had his career sack numbers in that odd man front 9 technique.
Bro, you call career sack. You say career sack numbers like that means something. Now, so you giving that respect like that I don't think it deserves. I'm gonna be clear. I'm saying this publicly for all of you to hear. So we have to have an intervention. Let's talk about this because we can I gotta find the tweet and just retweet it. And you look at every sack that he
I
had
saw
in
it.
last
I
season,
know.
and you look
I
at
know.
every sack Trevon had last season, and I'm like, dude, this is them playing against a lot of rookie quarterbacks who are holding the ball,
Okay.
a
And
lot
I
of
get
backup
that.
quarterbacks
I
not
get
holding the
that.
ball. So if there's a 25% increase in these sack numbers just because they're playing bad quarterbacks, come on, man, let's have a real conversation of what
Okay.
that
Well,
actually is.
can we agree? Can we agree that he was better against the run last year? Right?
I think that's fair.
Okay. So that's, maybe they're bad. I'll concede the fact that a third of his sacks were like anyone lined up there would get the sack. I'll concede to that because it is what it is. Jags fans don't want to hear it, but it's true. But I will say, as a counterpoint, he played really well against the run, folding back in on the backside against inside about those things. He played well. He probably the best he's ever played, and that was from that 9 technique. So
I agree. I can agree with that, but I would rather my best pass rusher on a team that don't have a lot of pass rushers. Matter of fact, I'd argue the team that only has 2 good pass rushers right now actually rush the passer every play
right.
versus rushing the passer 60% of plays. I think that's a reasonable expectation. And if you put him in that, if you go back to that 3-4 and you have him out, that's unfortunate. That's the defense. You have to have him in coverage ever so often because teams will scheme you to make sure you are having your best pass rusher.
But on the other hand, on 3rd and long, you're lined up in the 9 technique, which gives you an advantage in the pass rush.
Sure, but there's nothing stopping them from doing that now.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good
Packages.
point. That's a good point. That's a good point. But is he? But will we see it? Maybe we will. That was my point.
Even in Atlanta, again, they ran a 4-man front. What was I gotta find this. I just retweeted this the other day because it was in the middle of a different argument. Because I like arguing on Twitter.
Of course,
why not?
me too.
Travis D. Holmes on Twitter, please. But I think it was like 40-something% of the time they still ran 4-man fronts in Atlanta. And most of the time they were running 3-man front because that's what they came from. But they still ran a lot of both defenses. So there's still a question to ask. Could we still see a little bit of both? And it'd be fine.
Okay, so and then maybe this is a side point, and this is hard to argue, but like I think maybe sometimes people would call it a 4-man front and it was still an odd man front. They just only had 4 guys at the line of scrimmage, but they were still in that odd man front, and they had a guy out at the 9, and their weak side backer was just dropped off the I think some people don't know what they're looking at. Not to try to like
that's fair.
You know what I mean? And I think there was times when they were in an odd man front and had a 9 technique, and then their weak side backer was just backed up a bit, so it looked like a 4-man front, but really it's an odd man front because your nose tackles are lined up in a shade, and they're still playing the same gap integrity.
But whether it's odd or even, depending on who the 4th guy is, I guess personnel wise, I don't think a lot of people are looking at that. So you may have a point there.
And to me, the thing that matters to me is where's your nose and where's your rush end. If your nose is in a shade over the center and your rush end is out at the 9 or even a 7, outside 7, I'm calling that an odd man front. Like I just am because we know what the D-line's gaps are going to be, and we know where the rush is coming from. So again, and I'm not trying to judge people because that's some advanced kind of eyeballs looking at the fronts and things like that.
And most people aren't logging and categorizing that and everything else. Even your PFF guys are just like, hey man, responsibility is fine. He did his job.
Exactly. Right. So that's why I don't want to get too caught up on that. And then the whole point of this whole thing was to just say that like people aren't talking about the fact that Nielsen could run that type of defense. And it looked like a 4-man front to us, but if his D tackles are getting in gaps and just holding the gap, and he's bringing a rush from the outside of where a tight end would be, to me, that's like an odd man front blitz. And people are just assuming that this massive change is happening on defense, when I think the good thing about Nielsen is that he is very multiple.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, as they don't care how he does it as long as it works. And doing it in that way just makes sure he covers all the gaps and that he eliminates the run game. I'd be a fan of that as long as it works. All of us, if we're giving up explosive plays in the passing game, I'm asking questions of, why are we crowding the line of scrimmage so much? Why are we so worried about the interior run? Whatever. So
yeah.
people
I
just
mean, you're
gotta
right. I
understand.
mean, it's going to come down to results eventually. And regardless of the front he's in, he plays that bully ball in the secondary where he lines up all his DBs at the
Right.
line of scrimmage.
Right.
He's,
There we go.
yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel like our DBs are more press with their feet than press with their hands, guys, which is fine.
Ooh.
Right? Which is fine. If you can do it, you can.
That won't work. That won't work well for you against this team, though.
I mean, if you know where your help is and you have a tendency with the play, I think it can work. It's not Jalen Ramsey up there bullying you at the line of scrimmage, right? It's not that, but it's it can work. It can work. So the
Interesting.
results will speak for itself. And then
Well,
once
Darby has the most experience playing against this team, and I think John Shipley posted it earlier this week that Darby had what was it? I believe it was 10 targets against uh no, it was 5. He gave up 5 catches for like 47 yards or something like that in all of his snaps. 47 snaps, that's what it was. 47 coverage snaps against the Dolphins when he played for the Ravens. And he had the best game of anyone in the Ravens secondary in that game. And I'm like, oh, that's just a nice little takeaway, a little something to feel good about maybe going into this game. The person with the most experience actually had a solid game the last time he played against them. What was it, 18-17, 18 last year.
yeah,
Maybe that would work out.
I'm not saying you're wrong. If you are Mike McDaniels, who are you picking on in the secondary? It could not be Ronald Darby. It could be the safety. Like, who are you picking on in the secondary if you're Mike McDaniels?
You have to catch them in the right coverage, obviously. But I mean, I'm probably looking at, if it's not Ronald Darby, then it's Antonio Johnson.
Yeah.
If I can get him on the field in one of those first down scenarios, because
So
that's my expectation.
So I know this is like oversimplification, but most likely that would be like seam routes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're talking seam routes. You're talking maybe like a post with the, maybe a post corner. I want to just find out what the safety is going to do when I put him into these split decisions and
right, a smash concept, essentially.
Yeah, or something like running a backside post to the opposite side of the field. I want to see if he jumps something shorter, or if he's going to actually stay in back and like Dolphins busted coverage we just watched that we still don't know what the actual coverage was. I want to see what the backside safety is going to do in this formation.
Yeah, I mean, I'd run trips. I'd run a vertical from 3. I'd run a post from 2 and a flat from 1.
Yeah, and you got somebody who's slower, like an Antonio Johnson, one of the only people I didn't name that runs a 4.3, because he doesn't run a 4.3.
Right.
And I would make him run with one of these fast 4.3 guys across the field, 40, 50 yards down the field, and see how he does, and maybe go back to it later. Like, that's probably one of my attacking points.
And the caveat to all this is the offensive line has to be, I mean, if you're going to run trips, you essentially have one to the other side. So you may either have a one back or a tight end and empty. So you have to hold up against the pass rush. So
yeah,
if Hines Allen and Walker or Armstead or even Hamilton can get home, you can disrupt all that. So it's going to be good. I mean, there's a lot of hypotheticals we're working through here, which is great. But Sunday we'll see.
Sunday we will see. And shout out UCF Jaguar. I look forward to seeing your live reaction, sir. Whatever that's going to look like. Hopefully it's good.
I always love away games because I can watch UCF Jaguar. I go to every home game, so
right.
Obviously, I can't watch. I don't get reception in the stadium, so away games I keep him up and I watch him. And if I'm not at an establishment that serves adult beverages and which I may feel like I will be at this Sunday, but that's a conversation for another time. We'll see.
Would you believe I've never been to a home Jacksonville Jaguars game?
We got to change that.
Well, I mean, no. That's not true. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say as a fan, I've only been able to go to games working. I've only been able to go to games.
Gotcha.
Doing the job. So I'm going and trying to get answers to questions and everything else. I've never tailgated and hung out and gone to the game, sat in the crowd and just be with the people and just have a game. You know what I mean? That piece. And that's to say for someone who is a fan of the team to not have done that. Because even when I was a fan, I was living in Michigan doing all that stuff. I'm away at that point.
Right. Is it going to blow your mind that that's the only way I've gone to Jaguars games? That's
See,
the only way.
I had this exact conversation with Gus Lowe, the manager over Big Cat Country, and like 2 weeks ago at practice, and we were just talking about it. And he was like talking about college football games and going and hanging out, and I'm like, dude, I haven't even been to a UCF game in 3 years, and then he's like, well, why not? I'm like, I hate the old coach, and then the new coach came, and I haven't linked up with him and everything else. It's just like it's a weird situation. And then he started getting them talking about the tailgate, and I'm like, dude, I've never tailgated at any college or NFL game. And then it got into this whole shaming me conversation because I haven't done it, and I'm a huge fan, and I just hadn't done it tailgate even here yet.
Well, if I don't know your schedule. If you have a game where you're not covering, which I don't know,
That just doesn't happen.
Okay.
Unless it's like a home game that I'm not covering. If they
Okay.
take my credentials, I guess. Yeah, that could
Okay.
happen.
Well, maybe you'll just have to come up on a weekend when the Jags aren't playing, and you'll just have to come hang out in Jacksonville. And the best
like the Gator Bowl, like the Gator Bowl or something.
Gator Bowl sounds perfect. Florida, Georgia. Come up from Florida, Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah. And best advice is we'll get you an Uber. And what I always tell people when they hang out with me and the crew, don't try to keep up with us, right? This is not a badge of honor. This is not me trying to act like I'm better than anybody. I had just know how it will end. If you try to go drink for drink, it will not end well for you. And again, not a badge of honor. Just saying, like, unless you want to be experiencing the bad end of the tailgate, you got to pace yourself.
I mean, I can pace myself like you pace. I can chase with water and drink a drink and then chase with water. Like I can do what you do when in Rome.
Okay. All right. Well, next time you're up, we'll have to plan something, and we'll have to like vlog it, which I've never done, but I think that would be great. We can just vlog it. Travis taking Bortles bombs is what we call them. I'll fill you in later. Some Bortles bombs, and then we'll experience it the right way, especially maybe when an away game.
Oh man, yeah, that'd be a good time for it at least.
Well, we're an hour and almost 50 minutes in, so seems like a good spot to call it, I guess.
Cool.
What
and we're competing with Friday Night Football. That's the craziest part about that.
Listen.
I've been watching this whole time. Just
we have our niche. And these fans will always be here. The comments, we weren't as engaged as comments, but it's okay. I mean, we're talking. The views on the video will be higher because you're on and it's good conversation. So that's kind of how YouTube works. It is what it is. So
well, thank you, viewers.
Before we log off, what do you got going on? What do you got coming up? What are you about to write? What are you about to video? What do you got coming up?
We actually changed our schedule for the Duval dive to be recorded at 7:00 on Wednesdays because we want to lead in right to you guys doing Club Jaguar.
Yeah,
why not? But also it helps us, talk about stuff that's happening right before the game. Oh, sorry, right, like in the middle of the week with the injuries and everything else. It's a better time than Fridays. But also, I will have my Big Cat Country post-game write-up right after the game. I mean, we're talking 15 or so minutes after the game is over. That should be up. And then we will have the Duval Dive live immediately after the game. It's like 15 minutes of Kyle and I just talking about what we saw from the game, getting live reactions. I hope not to curse. Hope the Jaguars win, obviously. So yes, definitely please like and subscribe. I mean, we're over 100. Thank you to you also for just having we got over 100 subscribers, and first 2 months of having a YouTube channel, that's a blessing. That's great, man. But yeah, that's for the most part, that's what I got going on. And then, the post game write up, and then I'll probably do my, I don't know what to call it, trash dump of all my notes from the game, because I take notes throughout the game anyway.
Sure.
It's just naturally. Yeah. And I do that normally on Monday. I just hey guys, here's my notes. This
here's
is all
everything
the stuff I
else
saw from the game.
Right.
I saw this from the game, but I couldn't put that into this dedicated article.
Well, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to watching all that, seeing all that. Everybody here probably is already subscribed to you because they know how good you are. And but y'all. It's only a matter of time before you're surpassing all of us. And I can say that with confidence because you're good at what you do. And I can recognize good people. I'm a good evaluator of character. It's always been a strong point of mine. It always has been. And you're a good one. You're good at what you do. And it's only a matter of time before I'm trying to get on your channel for a little bit of recognition. I promise you that. Like
You're
I'm
always
serious.
invited on my channel. I don't even know why this is a conversation. Let me rephrase, because I have never sent you the text saying, "Hey, come on into." You are literally always invited on my channel. It is Wednesdays again, 7 o'clock. We're gonna talk about this.
All right. Yeah.
Just make
text
sure
me.
I'll make it. I'll
Text
make
me.
it happen.
Hey, we're friends now, so we text. So it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, we'll get it figured out. I appreciate you being here. Everything's in the video description. His stuff, the Racha Sriracha stuff. Get you a bottle of Racha Sriracha.
Oh, speaking of, you gotta put hot sauce on your popcorn, man.
Popcorn.
I knew it. I should have said it earlier. You don't eat hot sauce on your popcorn.
I promise you, dude, it's super weird. I eat a very strict diet. And I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. When I go out on the weekends and I watch games, all bets are off. But Monday through Friday, it's the same food every day. It sounds boring to you all. I'm not a huge lover of food. If that makes sense, right? I eat for fuel. I don't eat for taste. I know. So for me, it's very easy to stay very regimented with my diet. It's popcorn's not in it. I hate to say it. I do like popcorn though, especially kettle corn. I love kettle corn.
Jason, who hurt you? Who hurt you, man? We can solve this. We can help you.
You're married and have kids. I'm single. We don't live the same life, Travis. Okay, we don't have the same. We're not out there. We're not hunting the same anymore, Travis. I hate to tell you.
Facts. I was 4% body fat. I was 4% body fat, 185 pounds.
I'm telling you, we're not the same. Okay, we're not in the same stages of life. Okay, so some of us have to be a little more disciplined where we're at in life. Okay, all right.
I have no more dragons to slay. Yeah, you're fair. That's fair. I've slain my dragon,
but
as long as she doesn't die on me, Lord.
But one day, maybe we will be. Maybe one day we will be.
Gosh,
but until then, make sure to check out everything that Travis has got going on. Super excited about everything you got going on. Jags game coming up on Sunday.
Yes.
I'll be on Tuesday night breaking down the film. It works out best for me because they don't release the all 22 until Tuesday, and that's what I like to look at anyways. So Tuesday nights work out great for me anyways. So that's when we do our live show. We'll break down the film. And then hopefully we'll have Travis on again. We'll see. I'm pretty persuasive, so we'll see if I can get him on here soon. We'll be texting about that. Thanks to everybody that was in the chat, all the channel members that were here. You guys know we appreciate you. Follow Travis's stuff. Like the video. Tell a friend about the video, and then we'll see you very soon. Until then, go Jags.